What's going on, guys? It's your boy the Boxing Lowdown, and I'm back here with another Mythical Monday video. Now, as always, people, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Feel free to drop a comment if you like, and I'll happily get back to you. Now, let's get straight into it, man. Shout out to Michael Maxwell for this Mythical Monday suggestion. First of all, I believe it was Michael Maxwell that said it in the comments, so I thought, yeah, let me do this one for today. And Manny Pacquiao and Terence Crawford is a fight that we were talking about a few years ago as potentially happening, and a lot of us in the trade believed that this fight was coming too late for Manny Pacquiao, man. It wasn't the right time. He was at the end of his career. Terence Crawford was on the up, and you know, even Bob Arum, who promoted both fighters at the time, didn't want to put that fight in there for Manny Pacquiao. So how would this fight have gone though if they were to meet, you know, when Pacquiao was on a run at welterweight? You know, when he was blitzing through everyone, the likes of Hatton, Cotto, Margarito, Clotty, when he was just on that crazy run, Oscar De La Hoya. How would Manny Pacquiao then have got on against the Terence Crawford now? Would it have been any different? It would have been a fantastic fight, man. It would have been, you know, Manny Pacquiao during that time, that run that he was on, he was considered by many as the #1 pound for pound fighter in the world before he met Floyd Mayweather, of course. Floyd was in and out of retirement. I remember he was, you know, he retired after the, was it the Ricky Hatton fight? Or the De La Hoya fight, I can't remember, but he retired for a little while, then he came back, looked great against Marquez. But during that time, Manny Pacquiao was just going on a run, and he was blitzing everybody at that time. And yeah, he was considered as #1, of course, until he met Floyd. But yeah, it was 1 and 2 between them two, and that was the showdown that we were all looking for. Eventually, they did meet, of course, in 2015. A lot of people said it was a few years too late, but they still fought. Floyd Mayweather obviously getting the better of Manny Pacquiao then. Terence Crawford, would he have been able to offset Manny Pacquiao the way how Floyd Mayweather did? You know, because like I said, Manny Pacquiao during that time when he was blitzing for everybody, the likes of a Shane Mosley, Miguel Cotto, Margarito and so on, would he have been able to get through Crawford or not? It would have been a good fight, man. It would have been a lot more interesting had they have fought, you know, when they were in their primes compared to like a few years ago when we were talking about Manny Pacquiao and Terence Crawford, man. Obviously with Terence Crawford now, he is, you know, in the top 3 pound for pound fighters in the world for sure. I don't think there's an argument about that. Make of it what you will as to where he sits amongst those 3 with the likes of Usyk and Canelo. I've got Crawford right up in there as well. Terence Crawford's a fantastic fighter, man. A switch hitter. He can punch very hard. He stopped everybody he's fought at welterweight so far. Former undisputed champion at light welterweight. The guy's a fantastic fighter, man. He can do it all. He can box. He can fight. You know, he can do it up close. He can do it from long range. He's got everything in his arsenal, Terence Crawford. Would that style have been a problem for Manny Pacquiao? Even the Manny Pacquiao back then, I believe that he may have had a few problems with that sort of Terence Crawford, man. Now, Crawford, one thing about him is that he can get drawn into fighting. And that is a weakness if it was somebody that is used to fighting, somebody that has that in his game like a Manny Pacquiao has. Terence Crawford can get drawn into that. He's got a lot of pride. And, you know, he knows how to fight. He grew up in the streets and, you know, he was used to fighting. So if he feels like someone's getting the better of him in an exchange, then he'll want to have it out with him. Like, he's shown that plenty of times. Would that have been to his detriment if he was going up against a juggernaut like Manny Pacquiao back then? Now, remember, of course, Manny Pacquiao was the naturally smaller man. Welterweight was not his natural weight, or even light welterweight. I mean, Manny Pacquiao really started from the lower weights and moved up all these weights and dominated. It didn't really matter about the size of the opponent, man. I mean, look at the likes of Oscar De La Hoya when he moved up and fought him. At the time, people were thinking it was crazy that Pacquiao was going up against even that De La Hoya, and you saw what happened to him. So how would this fight have played out, man? It would have been very interesting because, like I said, Manny Pacquiao was on a tremendous hot streak at that stage. And, you know, Terence Crawford is Terence Crawford. We know how good he is. I will say, though, that during that hot streak, Manny Pacquiao did lose a couple of times. I have to say, he did lose to Timothy Bradley, albeit very controversial. And he also lost to Juan Manuel Marquez as well. So, yeah, he did take a couple of L's along the way. I just think that the style of Terence Crawford will always have been a problem for Manny Pacquiao, man. That switch hitting style, you know, that the power that he possesses. He fights different to the likes of, you know, like a Shane Mosley at that time, or an Antonio Margarito, or De La Hoya, or Miguel Cotto. Crawford doesn't have the same style as them. And I think that his style would have always given Manny Pacquiao problems, especially considering that he is the naturally bigger man. Although for Pacquiao, it didn't really matter at that time because he was blitzing for everyone. It would have been a lot closer than had they have fought a few years ago, that's for sure. and make your mind up as you will as to who you think would have won it. But what I will say this, while I think that Crawford had the wrong sort of style for Manny Pacquiao to deal with, whatever stage of his career, Manny Pacquiao, in terms of his greatness, do you know what I mean? We can't even compare that with Crawford right now in terms of what Manny Pacquiao's done. You know, he's had a fantastic career all the way up until 42 years old. So yeah, in terms of career achievements and what they've done, you know, you have to put Manny Pacquiao up there amongst the very best. Crawford's chapter is still being written, but you know, in terms of a stylistic matchup, I think that Crawford may have had the edge, man. Even when Pacquiao was blitzing through opponents like he was, I just think that his style would have been all wrong for Pacquiao, man, even back then. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, man. Maybe you guys think I'm wrong on this one. Maybe you think I'm right. If you do, let me know in the comments below how you think this fight would have gone. Would have been a great fight nevertheless, man. And always interested to see your comments. Don't forget to leave any recommendations for any Mythical Monday videos. And I'll catch you guys on the next one next week.